All right, guys, I am fresh off of the plane. Just drove home. I got home a few minutes ago from Blade Show West. So I wanted to show what I brought back from the show, talk for a minute about like kind of a Blade Show West 2024 recap, if you will. I'm going to try to keep it short. There's a bunch of stories to tell. I met a lot of new people. I hung out with old friends, met new makers, met new just knife collectors, enthusiasts, and all of that. It was a great time. You can tell my voice is probably a little raspy because I stayed up way too late at my friend Eric's house. Eric from Blades and Bullets on Instagram. I'm going to put a link to his Instagram down below. You got to go check him out. You probably already know who he is. He did point out to me, I always get his name backwards. I always say Bullets and Blade. Like I always mess it up, but it's Blades and Bullets. And I'm not going to screw that up again. He is truly a good friend of mine. He let me stay at his house both years for Blade Show West because my first one was last year. He's just a great guy. I've known him for many years. I really do know what his channel name is, his Instagram name, and his brand. He's building a brand. He had t-shirts. He's got stickers. Blades and Bullets. Eric. All right, so I ended up buying one thing. But let's talk about the stuff I brought back that I didn't buy first, okay? I hung out with Chris from Yellow to Energy, and there's like a secret handshake thing, and I got a printed out picture. Okay? Yeah, cool. Eric is a great guy. SOG was there and had a booth, and they had some patches. The guy said, dude, I don't want to take any of them home. Take 2, take 4, take 20. I don't care. So I did get 2 because I have a bunch of SOG knives that my friend John sent me. And so I figured I'm going to throw in the patches to John with what he bought, right? Okay. David from Orion Knives, Blade Banter here on YouTube, over on Instagram, all of that. Great guy. I've talked with him many, many times. He's been on my podcast, the EDC Hour. I saw him at the QSP booth. He also works for QSP, has his own company. This is his own knife company. And this is the new Eris. And it is on the website now. It is available. So he said, hey, check this out. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me see. You got some paperwork. You got a poker chip, which is kind of cool. I need to do some marketing stuff. Again, why I'm doing a video is I did like 0 posts. I made maybe 1 or 2 posts from Blade Show. I took a few pictures. Not many. I really suck at documenting the shows. I suck at even telling people I do YouTube. I suck at my own marketing and self-promotion, self-marketing. It's really bad. I could promote the hell out of Eric over at Blades and Bullets or Chris at Yellow to Energy all day, every day. Myself, not so good. So anyway, let me check this out. It is a pivot button compression lock thing. Nice Tonto blade. It is 14C28N. I'm getting confused. Just got off the plane. It is a compression lock that's actuated by the pivot button. Really kind of made for reverse flick, which we all know I won't even go there. G10. I said, dude, this is pretty cool. Is it available? He said, yeah, it's like, it's on the website. I looked later. It's like $89. So I put it all back in the box. I hand it back to him. He goes, no, that's for you. I brought it for you. I'm like, oh, sweet. Thank you very much. All right. So I will do a whole video on this. I have another one that he has given me before. I don't remember the name of that one off the top of my head either, but I'll bring that out when I do this video. And we'll talk more about him in the full video, right? I also saw Mark Begg and Mattia Baroni at the Begg Knives booth. And we were talking about this Kirby Lambert collaboration that they did. I don't remember what they call this one. This is their really affordable budget line. Okay, these were not really available to dealers yet. Today, when I got this from him, today's Sunday, I got it from him yesterday. We were talking with Mark and he goes, well, you got one of these, don't you? And I'm like, no. When we went to lunch a month or two back, you gave me a bunch of other knives, but you said I couldn't have this one because it wasn't out yet. Like I'm going to spill the beans. Like, I don't know, whatever. So they had them there at the show. I said, so I would like one because even though I'm not a thumb disc guy in general, this one works really, really well. No different than a thumb stud, really. And a lot of times with thumb discs, you have to push out and up. This one, you just, it's really natural to me. When I first handled the one that he was carrying a few months ago at lunch, there was an orange one there that I kind of would have liked. I asked for. He goes, no, I need the orange one, blah, blah, blah. So he gave me the green one. He had this green one, and he had one green one just like this in his pocket. He goes, you don't want the one out of my pocket. I go, actually, I do. That's a thing. If you can get a knife from the maker's pocket, put it in your own and go home and own it, that's kind of cool. I looked at it. It was really dull. He'd been using it a lot. I don't know how to sharpen it. So I took this one that's sharp and new, and away you go. Okay, these are they're very affordable. I think they were selling for like $150 at the show, and they're gonna be like when they hit the retailers and the dealers and stuff, they're gonna probably be in that 120 range. Steel bolster, steel liner. I don't even remember what the steel was on this one. It does not say. I'll have to look up before. I'll do a whole video on these, right? But you know, there you go. So I got that as well. So I was pretty good. I was good. I'm feeling good about myself. And then, much to my surprise and to the maker's surprise, I bought this one. Okay. And I really appreciate the fact that they had these little bags for them as well, because it gives you something to carry. You know, I mean, I had so much stuff. I thought it was really good. So this is from Thomas Knives, and this is the Raku. And here's just a little bit of details about this particular one. This is an aluminum certificate of authenticity that his son, and I'm drawing a blank on his son's name right now. There's 5 kids. I think there's 3 boys and 2 girls, if I remember correctly. He does all the printing of these and stuff. So like it's kind of a family affair because his son makes the certificates and all that. He was there at the show and put this all together for me. He wiped it all down, cleaned it up, gave me the zipper pouch and all of that, put it in the little shopping bag, and away I went. So this is the Raku. You saw some of the details. I'll do a full video. Fat carbon, Mars Valley, which I love. It's very matchy to my RJ Martin Q36 SS. So I really kind of like this. I fell in love with this model last year at Blade Show when my buddy Eric, Blades and Bullets, got one. And I got to play with it, handle it. There was one other one at the show that Darren had. I'm getting confused now with names. So Darren Thomas is the knife maker. His identical twin brother, Devin Thomas, makes the steel. A well-known, a famous, well-known Damascus maker. So it's super cool. Again, that runs in the family. It's a family business. Now, Devin Thomas had a son. He actually had 6 different kids, if I recall. One of which is Laren Thomas, the inventor of MagnaCut. So there's a lot of history in that family. So it was super cool. I got to talk with Darren, who made this knife, a lot at the show. I talked to him a lot last year. He remembered me this year, so that was fun. And he had 4 at the show, and I got to handle all 4 of them quite a bit. Now, he was shocked because he knows this isn't my style of knife. Well, is that really true? I do like bigger knives. This is about the same, the Hellraiser. I have been carrying the King Battle, which I just put in the other room, but I can grab a Battle here real quick. I have been carrying the bigger brother of this Battle, for 282 days as of today. And so I think I'm known more for this style, the bigger, kind of thicker knives, not so much more the sleek and thin. So as I was talking to Darren on and off throughout the show on Friday and Saturday, he goes, dude, I know you like it, but I know it's not your style. You don't feel any pressure to buy one or anything like that. I go, no, I don't feel any pressure. So at the end of the show yesterday, I went over and said, let's do it. And I got to handle all of them. And I got to pick the one that I liked the action the best on. Now, this was the one I picked. There was different Damascus patterns on the other and different carbon fiber. One of them was micarta that my friend Blake is going to buy next week. So the story goes, I'm going to be egging him on a little bit. He wanted me to buy that one. Those two had very similar actions. And I'll talk more in detail about that in the full video, but Darren is playing, he had different springs, different bearings in all of them to really try to dial in his own action. So I thought that was super cool. Now, there were two things on here, and I talked to Darren about it, so I'm not talking out of school, that I didn't love. One thing I'm 50-50 on. So the hardware for the pocket clip, it's through bolted, it's through drilled, and the screw hardware comes in from the scale, from the blade side, right? So it's hidden-ish hardware. Like the heads are hidden, but it just kind of does it like this on the backside, right? So it's more work to drill a hole halfway through the clip and do it this way. And I told him about that, and he goes, it's something that's been bothering him too, and he knows he needs to deal with and upgrade. Cool. That's what's great about working with small makers, is you can have those conversations with them and they are receptive, and they can go one of two ways. They'll either be, dude, you're not a knife maker. I make the knives the way I make them. If you want it, buy it. If you don't, buzz off. But no, he's like, yeah, no, I know that that's a thing, and I need to step it up and make that change. Okay, cool. The other thing I mentioned is I think this one, for sure, the newest one that Eric got, it's a black purple haze carbon fiber. I said, have you ever thought about doing a black clip? Or have you ever thought of using the blade steel as the clip? He goes, well, I'd need a much thicker, billet to do the clip. I said, well, don't you know a guy? His twin brother. He goes, yeah, I know a guy, and I might do, yeah. So he understood the assignment, so to speak, and he agreed that a black clip would probably look really well on this knife. He also said, hey, what about pivot collars out of the steel? I said, that would be trick. I don't think that that's necessary, but if he works out the pocket clip thing to be black with the hardware more hidden, I'm sure I can send this in and have that change. I said, now what about the button? Could you do the blade steel inlay into the button? He goes, that would actually, so he liked that idea. I'm a nobody. I don't know if he's going to implement, or really, maybe he went home and he told his son, dude, don't listen to Dirk's ideas. I don't know. Those things aside, I still paid full asking price for this because I like it that much. I do have some smaller and lighter knives. I have VC Edge interfaces. They're like 1.5 ounce knives. I can't show you right now because they're down with Jason, the maker, getting spot treatments. I should have them back in a week or so. I will have them before I do the full video on this. So yeah, I like it. Sure, there's a couple things that might change in the future in his newer versions of this knife that he's still playing with fine tuning. It is crazy sharp. It does not feel like a button lock. This D10 is not like a button lock. If you put this in my hand blind, I would not know that it's a button lock. I just wouldn't. So more to come on this one for sure. He was shocked that I bought it. I was a little shocked that I actually bought something because I was trying not to. But I spent hours, probably 2 hours talking to him on and off through the last couple of days. And he has agreed to come on the podcast with Alex and I some point soon. I don't know if it'll be next week or in a couple of weeks. I don't know. But we will have him on, and I think it'll be great. He knows more about knife making than most people have forgot. Like, that whole thing, right? You've been doing it a while. A lot of blood and a lot of history in his family for making knives, all that good stuff. Okay, so this one is one from Eric that he loaned me. I didn't remember which one was in which zippered pouch, so that's why I was a little bit hesitant there. He loaned me this one because he loaned me this one, which is a dual action, double homicide. Let me just move this stuff out of the way real quick. So dual action. So this is automatic. This is a liner lock. And this is beautiful. And I will do another video on these as well. So don't fret. Okay, I'm going to rush through these. But this one is for sale. Now what's funny, or what's awkward for Eric, for years, people have been sending him their collection, like the whole collection, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $100,000 collection, and asking him to sell it piece by piece. So this is the first time he has ever sent a knife out to somebody else to sell for him. And I'm honored that I was chosen for that task. Okay. This one is fantastic. I like it a lot more than my double homicide, which I will pull out in the video on this later. I just don't know, with having bought that knife, I have another special project that is under construction now from a knife maker in Utah. More to come from that once it is completed and ships to me later at the end of the month. So I don't know that I'm going to be buying that from Eric. So I am saying it is for sale because I don't think I'm buying it. This one is an automatic. Jeff Vandermeulen makes the double homicide. This is a collaboration between Jeff Vandermeulen and Reese Whelan. Reese did, and I'm going to get things wrong, Reese did all of this file work on the backspacer, I know for sure. I believe Reese worked on the auto mechanism. And then Jeff obviously built the knife. So it is not the hardest hitting of automatics, but it's a big knife. Now you got to load up the spring. But it hits solid, feels great in the hand. This is a big knife, but it is pocketable. It really is. And let me show you up against the Sharpie and the Spyderco Delica. And I'm going to do a full video, don't worry. But just to give you an idea, it is a big knife, but it can work in the pocket. It is a liner lock. So it is either automatic or just thumb stud. With a thumb stud, you don't have to reload the spring. The spring is still sprung, I guess. So you can just drop it down. So more to come on both of these bad boys, and this and wherever I put the Orion knife. So yeah, it was a great show. I need to do better at talking. I spent a lot of time talking to people. I got a stack of business cards from a lot of makers, and I hope that I can go through these now, tonight and tomorrow, and make sure, like, who is this guy? What knife was it that I looked at that I talked to him about? And, things like that, right? So I can really coordinate all of these things. The guys next to us at the booth, Yell at Energy booth, these swords, Valiant Armory in Texas. Dude, if you want a sword, talk to these guys. They were making more like medieval times swords. And I could be wrong. I don't know anything about swords, except I think they're freaking cool. And I had to talk myself out of buying a sword because their prices were fantastic. Like a legit full-on competition-ready sword, because apparently there are competitions for swords. They literally dress up in full armor and you go sword fighting. And the swords that these guys make are used in those sorts of competitions oftentimes. They are they're real swords. They are sharp. They will withstand multiple competitions, the guy said. I spent a lot of time talking to them as well and learning some tricks and trades of that. You know, not really tricks and trades, but sort of the ins and outs of that sword world. And I was fascinated. So they do everything. They don't do samurai swords. They do all the other swords. There were companies there that did samurai swords. I didn't talk to them. I would really at some point love a couple of samurai swords, you know, the long one and the shorter one. And I'm not talking the cold steel $200 ones. I'm talking legit $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 one. That's what I want at some point. So, Darren, if you watch this, you are just a genuine human being. You're good people, good peeps. And I enjoyed talking to him. I'll put a link to his Instagram down below as well, because if you don't know who Darren Thomas is, you should. You should be following him and checking him out, because not only is a really good knife maker, he's just a really good guy with a lot of knowledge and loves to talk and share his knowledge with people. And I was honored to buy a knife from him. And there was no pressure. I really enjoy the knife. I can't wait to carry it more at the end of the year after I'm done with my 366-day challenge of the King Battle. So, yeah. So stay tuned for videos on all this stuff. And thanks for watching. If I met you at the show or I saw you, thanks for coming up. Comment down below. One last little story. I had my voice recognized Saturday evening at the end of the show. Ben from Jack Wolf Knives recognized my voice. We started talking. He was wearing a Rolex Yachtmaster. I was wearing the Omega Snoopy. And so we started talking watches for 10 or 15 minutes. We traded watches so I could wear the Yachtmaster for a little bit. We're the same size wrist, so it was really hard. Like, if he didn't have my Snoopy on, I might have tried to sneak off the side, exit stage left with his Yachtmaster. So we talked a lot about his knives and stuff, and he also would love to come on to the podcast and talk about his knives, even though I was very honest with him and said, I don't really like slip joints and I don't really like front flippers, so your knives don't really appeal to me. They're done well, they're cool designs and all of that. But he goes, no, I get it. There's a knife for everybody. And and I've done videos on Jack Wolf Knives. So check those out. He will be on the podcast at some point shortly also, because he was genuinely excited about that idea. So yeah, it was really cool. I'm glad I went. I'm looking forward to next year. I am not going to make California Custom Knife Show this year because a family thing came up, which kind of, you'll find out. My special project that's being done, once that is revealed, you'll understand why I did not make it to California Custom Knife Show. We'll talk about that at a later time. So, I know, this kind of went a little long. I was trying to make it short, but I also am posting at a weird time because I just want to get it up today on my day back. Thanks, everyone. I greatly appreciate it. Eric, thank you for letting me stay at your house. Chris, thank you for letting me help out in your booth and all of that. And all the other makers. Luck Knives got me in. I hung out with him. Gene from Rugged Mountain Knives, I talked to him a lot. There was so many people. I can't name them all, but thank you, everybody.